When we think of ancient civilizations, a few names likely come to mind: Egypt, Greece, Rome, and China. But hidden in history, beyond our textbooks, lies a civilization far larger and more complex than most realize. A civilization that, at its height, shaped continents, impacted cultures, and left an indelible mark on the course of human history. Join us as we uncover the story of the largest civilization in the world, delving into the mysteries, achievements, and legacy of this grand society. 1. Defining civilization. Before we dive into the civilization itself, let's break down what makes a civilization. A civilization is more than just a large population. It's a complex social structure, a shared culture, and often, a highly organized governance system. These societies boast advancements in technology, trade networks, military organization, and often, monumental architecture. Civilizations transform raw land into empires and ideas into innovations. Some, like the Indus Valley Civilization, were masters of urban planning. Others, like the Greeks, excelled in philosophy. And some, like the one we're exploring today, combined these skills on an unprecedented scale. 2. Ancient China's influence and reach. One of the most formidable contenders for the title of the largest civilization is ancient China, particularly during the Han Dynasty. With a population that surpassed 60 million at its peak, the Han Dynasty was a powerhouse of innovation, from silk production to gunpowder, that influenced regions as far west as Europe. But size wasn't the only impressive aspect of this civilization. The Han Dynasty's impact on trade, governance, and cultural practices established the Silk Road, connecting China to the Middle East, North Africa, and beyond. This network of trade routes not only spread goods, but ideas, influencing cultures on multiple continents. 3. The mysterious Indus Valley Civilization. Imagine a civilization that existed over 5,000 years ago, with cities that rivaled ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia. The Indus Valley Civilization, which flourished in what is now Pakistan and northwest India, remains one of the most mysterious and largest ancient societies. With sophisticated urban centers like Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa, this civilization is credited with developing advanced water systems, granaries, and urban planning principles. What's remarkable about the Indus Valley people is their uniformity. Across a territory of over 1 million square kilometers, they had standardized weights, seals, and architectural patterns. Yet we have barely scratched the surface of their society due to undeciphered scripts and limited archaeological records. 4. The Mongol Empire's massive conquests. When we think of the largest civilizations in terms of sheer landmass, we can't ignore the Mongol Empire. Under the leadership of Genghis Khan, the Mongols forged an empire that stretched from the Pacific coast of Asia to Eastern Europe, covering an estimated 16% of the Earth's land area. Though often remembered for their military conquests, the Mongols were more than just warriors. They established trade networks, encouraged cultural exchanges, and protected the Silk Road, creating a legacy of connectivity that bridged east and west. Their empire reshaped the landscape of Eurasia and left an imprint on the civilizations they encountered. 5. The impact of the Mayan civilization. Turning our gaze to the Americas, the Mayan civilization, while geographically smaller, was remarkably advanced and widespread for its time. Known for their knowledge of astronomy, mathematics, and engineering, the Mayans created a civilization that influenced Central America for nearly 2,000 years. From towering pyramids to intricate calendar systems, the Mayans left an architectural and intellectual legacy. Despite the challenging jungle landscape, they constructed complex cities like Tikal and Copan, with palaces, temples, and ball courts. Their civilization demonstrates the incredible potential of human ingenuity, even in the absence of large-scale domesticated animals and advanced metallurgy. 6. The Ottoman Empire's cultural crossroads. Spanning over 600 years, the Ottoman Empire was one of the largest and longest-lasting civilizations in history, bridging Europe, Asia, and Africa. With Constantinople as its capital, this empire became a cultural and economic crossroads, blending ideas and traditions from diverse regions. The Ottomans mastered trade and diplomacy, controlling key trade routes between Europe and Asia. Their cultural influence extended into art, science, and religion, and their legacy can still be felt across Turkey, the Balkans, and the Middle East today. This vast civilization's reach is a testament to the power of cultural synthesis and tolerance. 7. The British Empire, the empire on which the sun never set. And finally, the British Empire, which once boasted the largest territory of any empire in history. By the 20th century, the British Empire spanned across every continent, giving rise to the phrase, the empire on which the sun never sets. From India to Canada to Australia, British influence reshaped entire societies. Though a product of colonialism, which brought both cultural exchange and suffering, the British Empire's legacy is complex. Through this vast network, Britain spread its language, legal systems, and innovations, influencing the development of modern global society. But the empire's impact wasn't one-sided. The blend of local cultures with British influence gave rise to unique identities in former colonies that persist to this day. 8. The Roman Empire, foundation of the Western world. No discussion of great civilizations is complete without the Roman Empire. Known for its incredible engineering, expansive governance, and military prowess, Rome began as a small city-state in Italy, eventually growing to encompass nearly all of Europe, parts of the Middle East, and North Africa. The Romans were masters of infrastructure and created a system of roads and aqueducts that linked their empire and facilitated trade, military movement, and cultural exchange. This network was crucial in spreading Roman laws, language, and culture across Europe. But it wasn't just infrastructure that made Rome powerful. It was their adaptability. Roman culture absorbed and adapted elements from the people they conquered, from Greek philosophy to Egyptian art, making their society a melting pot of ideas. Roman law forms the foundation of many modern legal systems today. Concepts like trial by jury, contracts, and property rights all find their roots in Roman legal principles. Though the empire fell in the 5th century, the legacy of Rome continues to shape our laws, languages, and infrastructure even today. 9. The Mali Empire, the wealth of West Africa. Turning our gaze to Africa, the Mali Empire was one of the wealthiest and most powerful empires of the medieval world. Established in the 13th century, it stretched across West Africa and was famous for its immense wealth, vibrant culture, and influential trade routes. Mali's legendary ruler, Mansa Musa, is often cited as one of the wealthiest individuals in history. On his famous pilgrimage to Mecca, he distributed so much gold that it caused inflation in the regions he passed. But Mali's significance wasn't just in wealth. It was a center of knowledge and education. Cities like Timbuktu housed extensive libraries, attracting scholars from across the Islamic world. Education and culture flourished in Mali, contributing to its lasting influence on African history. Mali's trade networks spanned the Sahara, connecting it to North Africa and the Middle East. Gold, salt, and other resources flowed through these routes, facilitating a cultural exchange that brought Islamic art, science, and literature to West Africa. Though the Mali Empire eventually declined, its cultural legacy lives on in West African heritage. 10. The Byzantine Empire, preserver of ancient knowledge. The Byzantine Empire, often overshadowed by its predecessor Rome, was one of the most resilient civilizations in history. Centered in Constantinople, modern-day Istanbul, it bridged Europe and Asia and preserved the knowledge of the ancient Greeks and Romans for over 1,000 years. The Byzantines excelled in art, science, and theology, establishing schools, hospitals, and libraries that kept classical knowledge alive. While much of Europe was in turmoil during the early medieval period, the Byzantines preserved and developed key texts in philosophy, medicine, and astronomy. They contributed to Christianity's development as well, with their distinct Eastern Orthodox traditions shaping the religion's practices in Eastern Europe and Russia. Though the empire fell to the Ottomans in 1453, the Byzantines passed on their rich heritage. Byzantine scholars fled to Italy, sparking the Renaissance and introducing Western Europe to classical texts that reshaped art, science, and philosophy. The Byzantine Empire, though often overlooked, served as a cultural and intellectual bridge between antiquity and the modern world. From the distant Indus Valley to the far-reaching British Empire, each of these civilizations left a profound impact on humanity. Their influence spanned languages, religions, cultures, and economies, shaping the way we see the world today. So, what was the largest civilization? That depends on how you measure it, by size, by influence, or by legacy. But one thing is certain: each civilization, in its own way, transformed the world forever.